This is a story about a man named Newt Gingrich. Early in his career as a politician, he did something very clever and a little devious. Late one night, Newt sat in his office surrounded by stacks of notepads and polling data. He wasn't writing policy. He was writing words. Words that would change how people felt about politics and about each other. He began making lists. Some words, he decided, would make people feel warm, strong, and hopeful: freedom, family, reform, courage. Others would make people feel disgust, fear, or anger: corrupt, sick, decay, liberal, failure. And here's the strange thing: none of it was about truth. These words didn't describe policies, they described feelings. So he wrote a pamphlet. He called it Language, a Key Mechanism of Control. Inside, Gingrich compiled lists of words. Simple, emotional, polarizing words. They came from focus groups run by the pollster Frank Luntz, who had discovered something new about the American mind, that fear and anger were far more motivating than facts or reason. Soon, Gingrich shared his lists with fellow Republicans. He told them, use these positive words when talking about us, and these negative words when talking about them. Repeat them in every interview, every speech, every soundbite. Then he sat back to watch what would happen. And what happened was remarkable. Voters began to feel differently, not because the facts had changed, but because the framing had. They started to believe one party was heroic and the other corrupt, even when nothing concrete had shifted. It wasn't persuasion in the traditional sense, it was conditioning. It reminded Gingrich of his favorite book, Chimpanzee Politics, a study of how alpha chimps rise to power, not by brute strength alone, but through grooming, alliance, and manipulation. The alpha doesn't win because he's the strongest. He wins because he understands emotion, when to display affection, when to provoke fear, and when to divide the group just enough to stay on top. Gingrich saw that politics worked the same way. By changing the emotional cues, the grooming rituals of language, he could alter how people aligned, who they trusted, and who they despised. And just as in the chimp colonies, once the tribe accepted the hierarchy, the game ran itself. And from that moment on, American politics would never again be about governing. It would be about control. Control of language, control of emotion, control of reality itself. Republicans began winning. It reached its climax in 1994, when Gingrich led his party to take control of the House of Representatives for the first time in 40 years. The strategy had worked. The contract with America wasn't a policy revolution. It was a linguistic one. But here's the twist. Gingrich's real discovery wasn't just political, it was psychological. He'd found that in a world saturated with television, language no longer reflected reality, it created it. By repeating words charged with emotion, you could make people feel before they thought. You could bypass reason entirely. And soon, this technique spread. Media networks adopted it, talk radio adopted it, eventually social media would automate it. Today's political language, deep state, woke, fake news, real America, are descendants of Gingrich's linguistic genome. Like in the chimp colonies, we all started performing according to invisible expectations, reacting to frames someone else had chosen for us. Think about that. Every day, the words we hear shape how we see the world and how we see each other. They tell us who's good, who's evil, who deserves empathy, and who deserves blame. So where's the line? When does language stop describing reality and start replacing it? That line, it turns out, keeps moving. Because as Gingrich discovered, and as the rest of politics has proven ever since, in the right hands, words don't just change minds, they change the world.